Hello and welcome to Euphoria. I'm working on a new and exciting project for my Lego city. I decided that my little Lego city deserves to have a city hall, and it was about time that I designed and built one. So in this new series of videos, I'm working out how to build a town hall or city hall for my Lego city. I'll be doing that using my normal design cycle, which starts with defining the concept, then developing the design, and then building the model. There'll be a series of videos going through the different stages of the process, and you'll be able to see how I develop the design as I go along. If you haven't seen it yet, you might want to start with the first video in this series, which is the one where I looked at the inspiration for a new MOC and the impulse to start working on the design. There's a link in the card above and in the description below. In this video, which is part 2 of the series, I'm going to look at turning those initial ideas into a defined concept for the model. My inspiration for this build is the many real-life examples of lovely town and city hall buildings in classical and traditional styles found mostly in Europe. I also really like the style of the Lego Town Hall modular building from 2012, which is set number 10224. But although it is quite tall, I think it's a bit small and looks rather cramped when constrained to a single modular building on a 32 by 32 base plate. So the initial idea for this MOC is to make my own version of a traditional town hall building in a European style. It's going to be a straight modular building, but I want to make this larger than a regular modular, so I'm going to build it on 1.5 standard base plates, which would make it 48 studs wide, or it might even be as large as a double modular, which would be 2 base plates or 64 studs wide. I've made larger modular buildings before, like this extended brick bank building and this large office building, so I think this one should be achievable. So now we'll take the initial idea and work on it a bit more to firm it up into a more defined concept. In this phase of the design process, I tend to be looking at all the C's: context, constraints, criteria, and any other considerations to refine the initial idea and develop the concept for the MOC. First of all, we'll look at context. This model will be a building forming an architectural and historical feature for the town centre. It may sound a bit odd to start with the position of the building, but as I know where it needs to go, I think this is an important consideration. The building will occupy a prime location right on the town square or plaza in the centre of my Lego city. I'll have to move the brick bank away, and then I'll have a decent space for a nice town hall building that my city's residents can be proud of. I'll mostly be viewing this building from the front, but I do want it to be viewable from all sides, and that of course means having a fully finished back and sides for the building. However, most town halls are not immediately flanked by other buildings. It's nicer to have a bit of space around them, so I might give this town hall a bit of space at each side, for example by using corner buildings on each side. I haven't really decided yet. Now I'll look at constraints. The main constraint, of course, is the space available for the building. If I replace my extended brickbank MOC, that's 1.5 base plates or 48 studs wide, that gives me that space for the town hall. At the moment, on this side, there's a vacant lot, although I'll probably fill that soon with another building. At the other side, there's currently the pet shop modular building, then the large office building. Now, I just want to think about the size of the building. Although it would be wonderful to make a large town hall like this impressive model of Rochdale Town Hall, even though that's probably a realistic scale model of an actual building, it just wouldn't fit in my city. It would be out of scale with the standard modulars and my own MOCs, which are built in the kind of modular minifig standard, which are rather more constrained in size. So although I do want this to be an impressive building, I think if I make it too big, it's just going to look out of scale and cramped in the site. So I'm going to limit the size to the width of the main plaza, which is 2 base plates wide or 64 studs. There's also the question of cost. Although I'm not building to a specific budget, I would like to build my MOC for less than it would cost to buy the Lego Modular Town Hall, which now costs upwards of £600 or £700, which I regard as silly money. I expect to be able to build my own town hall, even if it's a bit bigger, for a similar cost or less, because I won't be buying it as a set. Cost is also a reason to keep to a sensible sized building that's in scale with the other buildings in the town. I'll also try to avoid the use of any specialised elements. That means I'll design it to use fairly affordable and readily available Lego parts. This building will follow the established standards and conventions for modular buildings. That means it will meet certain size constraints, have the modular connection points at the sides, and the floors will be separable for access to the interior. If you want to see what I mean by standards and conventions for modular buildings, see my videos on the topic. There's a link in the card above and in the description below. Next, I'll look at the criteria for this design. It has to be a building that does justice to its important place in my Lego city. It's going to be one of the most significant features of my city centre. No pressure there then. It will be a classically proportioned building, which probably means it will be symmetrical with an entrance in the middle. I want the building to be appropriate to the traditional style of my city. That means it will look like it's been built from traditional materials like stone and brick, rather than steel and glass. There doesn't need to be any vehicle access to the building, so there won't be any roads or garages within it, and it will be a pedestrian-only building. It will need to be at least 2 stories high to represent a town hall, but that probably means 2 or 3 floors rather than being much taller. And of course it will need to have some interior details. So to make these accessible, I want to have floors that can be separated in the style of Lego modular buildings. There are a few other considerations to take into account. Moving the bank building is going to mean some major changes to my city layout, so this project will be quite disruptive for my city. Of course, I won't have the special minifigs that came with the original Town Hall set, although I may be able to obtain them on the aftermarket if I really want them. So I'll have to look out for minifigs that might be useful in populating a town hall building. I want the building to make sense in its internal layout as well as looking nice from the outside. I envisage that the building will have meeting rooms, public rooms, and administration offices. Although some town halls include a courthouse, I somehow don't see this building as having to function as a courthouse as well. And lastly, I think to fit in with the traditional style of the building, it would be really nice for it to have a clock or bell tower or both on top of the building. So, having thought about all those aspects, I think I'm in a better position to define the concept for this MOC. It hasn't changed that much from the original ideas, but I can now firm it up to be the following. This will be a European-style traditional town hall building that does justice to its important place in my LEGO city. It will sit directly on the main square or plaza of my LEGO city, and it will be one of the most significant features of my city centre. It will take its design cues from traditional style buildings with classical proportions, which probably means my design will be symmetrical with an entrance in the middle. The building will be built from traditional materials like brick and stone. I do actually quite like the style of the LEGO Creator Expert Modular Town Hall set. It will be larger than a standard modular building, so this is going to be on a base plate that's 48 studs or 64 studs wide and 2 or 3 stories high. That makes it at least as large as the assembly square set. It will follow the modular building standards and conventions and fit in with other modular buildings from the Creator Expert modular line. It will, of course, be a full building, and it will therefore have all its walls and be viewable from the front, back and sides. It will have an interior, including spaces for meeting rooms, public rooms and administration offices. I'll try to minimise the use of specialised or expensive parts to make this project reasonably affordable. And I want the building to have some nice features like a clock or bell tower. So that was a look at how I developed the concept for this model. In the next video in this series, I'll be taking this concept and looking at various opportunities and design options for this build, and hopefully come up with an outline design for the MOC. I intend to design this model on the computer in a LEGO CAD program, so that I have a digital build that I can use to test out my ideas before getting all the parts I need to build the MOC as a physical model. But don't worry, I'll be playing around with some real LEGO as well. I'm now ready to start playing around with some ideas for the facade of this building, which might help me to get some ideas for the style of the building and help me look at the options for its design. So here I've started already mocking up some ideas for window shapes, sizes and positions for the front of the building. If you have any ideas on this concept or for what should be inside the town hall, please let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Look out for the next video in the series, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos about the development of this MOC and my LEGO city.